I'm really delighted to have with us Anna Romero, who's Head of Sustainability at Wellington College and is actually currently in training to become a UN-accredited teacher, climate change teacher with Educate Global. We have Melanie Harwood, our Chief Executive, and we have Asha Alexander, the Principal at Kindergarten Starters in Dubai, which is one of our flagship schools, and she'll be sharing some very exciting stuff later. And then we have Inigo, who's joining us as a very special guest, and thank you so much. Okay, so today I really wanted to actually talk about the Educate Global program. We set up in April 2019 this year as the UNITAR joint partnership with a mandate to place a climate change teacher in every school worldwide. It's been an interesting journey, but we're thrilled to share that story with you today. When we started, we had a remit to place 80 teachers, which we thought was quite challenging. We actually launched that, and after a week, we had over 1,000 teachers in the United Kingdom on their way to becoming UN-accredited climate change teachers. And within 120 days, I'm pleased to say, actually there was a climate change teacher in 10% of British schools, and now we're in over a third. This initiative has, of course, also gone viral. We're now having our climate change teachers all over the world. Asha is from Dubai, and Anna's helping us to take things over to Latin America, where we're looking to push this out. So it's a really exciting time for us. Now here we are at COP25 with over 225,000 UN-accredited Educate Global climate change teachers worldwide in over 40 countries, and that's growing on a daily basis. With us, we also have two very special guests. We have Meryl Batchelder, who is one of Britain's top climate change teachers, and again accredited by the UN and Educate Global. We also have Dr. Ben King, and he is again from Churston Ferris Academy, so we're really looking forward to having them. The Educate Global program is broken down into 4 phases. Phase 1 is upskilling our climate change teachers to be climate literate. By that, we mean we need to equip them with the knowledge. We can't simply hand out a lesson plan, tell them go teach climate change without the fundamental knowledge and education to do so. In the second phase, we actually support schools and governments in delivering that so that they're not left out alone to deliver climate change education without the resources they need. Phase 3, we look to deliver sustainable initiatives in schools that actually drive a reduction in the school's carbon footprint and help encourage that sustainable mindset to become second nature. In the same way a child is learning to read and learning to count in school and learning to write, we need them to learn how to be and act sustainable. Children are a huge catalyst for social change. I believe Greta Thunberg is actually arriving at COP25 today, and she's a perfect example. They have such a huge potential to change the world around them and change society, which is why we're so heavily driven by the potential of our world's children. And the final phase is to evidence and impact the measure that we actually have, reporting back to UNITAR, sharing with governments and sharing with the world around us to actually show what happens when you give people the knowledge they need and empower them to take action. So today, as I said, we're joined by 2 of Britain's leading climate change teachers with Educate Global, Dr. Meryl Batchelder at Corbridge Middle School and Dr. Ben King at Churston Ferris Grammar School. So they're going to be telling you a bit about how they're delivering climate change education in their school and how that's going down. So we're bringing them in virtually as they couldn't be here today. I would like to hand over to Ben King first of all.
Thank you very much, Tim. I think Tim got the message very right. I was completely ignorant. A child of the 1980s. I did my A-levels and got a first-class degree in environmental science and a PhD in the 1990s, but I still remained ignorant. I reckon that I got it on climate change in around 2010. I discovered my ignorance, and I spent the last 10 years just learning as much as I can. I don't see how teachers can really understand climate change, even if we're teaching it from lesson plans, schemes of work, from the syllabus, from the specification, the A-level and GCSE. I don't see how that's going to happen unless we become specialists. And the Educate Global Climate Change Teacher Academy has just been amazing. It's actually allowed me to become a specialist and given me the confidence to act. But it's voluntary, and I think we really need people to actually be asked, told, in schools around the world. We have to do this. We have to have people. Children are asking for it. I've been spreading the word massively via Twitter and Facebook As well as that, we've been asking questionnaires to our students. Our students in our school, 80% say they're worried. They're asking for climate action now. We're doing the UK Young Person's Climate and Nature Emergency Poll along with some other geography teachers, and it's just amazing. We're closing it tomorrow. It's all over the UK, and the initial results are saying the same thing. Children are saying, please educate us. And I'm seeing that teachers don't understand climate change. Even those who teach about it, we don't understand it. We only understand it when we voluntarily go in there. We need to get people doing things. I've spoken at the keynote. I've given a keynote lecture recently, last week, to the UK Youth Parliament, and they're clamouring for information. Teachers are desperately joining up to do this. We need to have actual action. We need people to be told to do the course. The course is incredible. The resources provided are incredible. We're building banks of resources and lesson plans on the Educate Social Network, which is an internal set network for students and staff as well. We're running sustainability groups in school. We're running climate change action and focus groups. We're doing what we can do. We're mapping the curriculum. We're actually mapping out when things are taught in different subjects across the school. But this is voluntary, and we need action, and we need people to be asked to act.
Thank you so much, Ben King. And Meryl Batchelder.
Good morning. So I was already linking the science curriculum that I taught in school to the Sustainable Development Goals. So if I taught a subject, for example, about energy, I'd link it to SDG 7, clean energy. And it was making sense to my pupils, so it was engaging them. They could see that there was a plan because they were already, starting to have awareness about different environmental issues. When I did the course in April for Educate Global, it really made me feel like I have the authority and the confidence to teach about climate change, about the causes of climate change, the effects that these children are going to see that I teach, how we can mitigate it, what we need to do as individuals, and what pressure we can put on our politicians and our businesses, and how we can adapt to what's going to happen. We know that climate change is causing sea level rises, and it's causing fires. And so our children are the engineers of the future. They are doing STEM subjects, and now they have a real reason. There is a huge requirement for engineers in the coming years to drive this green revolution that will protect our citizens as we go into the late 21st century. So I did the course, loved it. There's 1,000 different case studies, facts, figures that you can get the children to do. Some of my pupils, and I know Ben's pupils, are actually doing the courses themselves because they're so interested in them. And because I was so enthusiastic, I thought, how do I get this in the Northeast? The Northeast of England was the centre of the Industrial Revolution. Some people could say that it was partly to blame for what's happening in the world today because of the coal that came out of Newcastle. Now the Northeast can be the centre of the Green Revolution. So I contacted Jamie Driscoll, the Mayor of North of Tyne. He was really interested. He oversees Newcastle, North Tyneside and Northumberland councils in his role as a Metro Mayor. And so he has put us in touch. Melanie and I go and talk to the councils, to the head teachers, to get them to put this in their schools. So hopefully the North of Tyne area, this northeast of England, will be the first region to have a climate change teacher in every state school. And I think that is critical to give the kids the future that they deserve. One that is they're inheriting a planet that needs to be changed, and they are the driving force. It is through SDG 4, quality education, that we can deliver SDG 13, climate action. And I think I can't say it any clearer than that.
Dr. Ben King and Dr. Meryl Batchelder, thank you very much. That was absolutely insightful. Okay, if we could go back to the presentation, that'd be fantastic. So We're going to actually speak to some of our panelists. We brought some fantastic guests along, so I think it's only fair that we hear about them and what they think of the importance of climate change education. So Inigo has been involved in climate change education and pushing that forward for 8 years now. I would like to start with you. What was your key motivation for climate change education, and why do you think it's so important?
First of all, thank you very much for the invitation and congratulations for your extraordinary initiative. It's amazing what you've done in this month, and it's an honor to be in this panel. My name is Íñigo Orbañanos. I've been in education for 25 years, and more recently, around 80 years ago, we have been focusing on environmental education. We strongly believe that's the most important action the world needs to engage. We need an army, as you say, an army of Gretas. We in Mexico say guerreros planetarios, earth warriors. We need for all the children and students, K-12, to understand the risks and the urgency to take action. We're very passionate about it, and I will talk further very fast about our achievements, and thank you for the invitation.
Brilliant, thank you. We're going to take a look now at the work taking place in some of the schools around the world. And I'm going to be starting with Asha Alexandra's school. So that's the kindergarten starters in Dubai, which is part of the GEMS group. I think it's really important to say when we say climate change education, we're not handing out a textbook and saying, go read this. We're empowering knowledge, and then we're getting children to take action. We're really, really focused on that sustainability needs to become second nature. So I think this video is a really brief insight into the work Asha has been doing, but a fantastic one nonetheless.
The curriculum should steer away from departmentalization and head towards being more holistic with meaningful connections. At KGS, real-world themes like forensic science, climate literacy, and space exploration are the need of the hour and are embedded within the curriculum to provide a highly contextualized setting for multisensory and extensive learning.
I can relate the sea level rise to the recent floods that happened in Kerala and Mumbai last year. And I didn't know climate change was so frightening.
This integrative education practice is not only a hands-on participatory approach, but is also poised to situate languages, mathematics, science, and even liberal arts in a broader cross-disciplinary framework.
Sustainable cities are the need of the hour. With us approaching Expo 2020 and a future where natural resources are depleting, we are hoping that AI and robotics will help us develop a cleaner and long-lasting environment to live in.
Wow. Asha, tell me please, what inspired you to take the approach you've just seen, and how are your teachers and even the school as a whole reacting to this kind of new strategy when it comes to education?
I think cross-curricular learning is about understanding the learning process and how it cuts across traditional subject boundaries to make children systems thinkers. It is for us to provide these opportunities. I find that in most schools, head teachers add this onto the curriculum and weigh down the curriculum as an extracurricular or an additional bit of learning, and that is where our children are not able to live and be inspired by this. This kind of learning actually inspires the teachers and the learners. It is about not only academic, but the social and the spiritual aspects of learning as well. There's a lot of opportunity in moral education for children to look at the respect we give the environment, to talk about concerns that they should debate during that hour. So it is not only integrated in STEM subjects, it is integrated in moral education, it is integrated in mathematics, and all of the learning is taking forward opportunities for children to make a positive change in the community and beyond.
Thank you. Anna, you are Head of Sustainability at Wellington College in the United Kingdom. What appetite do you see for climate change education amongst your students?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for bringing us here. My students are aware of climate change, but they, most of the times, don't know how to react to this problem. So my work has been really empowering them to gain the tools to act. Now they are taking global actions, local actions, community actions, which is really important. We are part of a program that is co-curricular, and I strongly believe that this should be immersed in the curriculum of our school, of our country. And in that sense, I believe that countries like Mexico should benefit from these initiatives as well. The education is really necessary in different areas, but now environment and climate change are really important. My students are obtaining the most of this through my training as well. Now I am expecting to finish this amazing course and continue with this, what I initiated with this alternative. Thank you.
Brilliant. We're going to take a look at, I'm going to ask our panelists to take a look actually at the video that's going to come up. This is a statement from the UK Department for Education a while ago. It was done in response to one of our climate change teachers who kind of got press coverage. I'd just like you to take a look, and then I'm going to open it up for some questions, and we're going to kind of see.
One of the key demands of the climate school strikes is a change to the national curriculum. A Department for Education spokesperson said the curriculum includes the knowledge pupils need to help address climate change in the future. For example, in design and technology, pupils are taught to consider the impacts of products they design on individuals, society and the environment. Schools have the autonomy to go into as much depth on these subjects as they see fit.
So there's one line I want to pick out of that, particularly to start off with, and that's that schools have the autonomy to go into as much depth as they see fit. Now, at Educate Global, we're really passionate that every child in the world should have the same high-quality learning of climate change education, and that shouldn't vary. So this is an open question for anyone on the panel. But there is a discrepancy when you let schools choose how they deliver that. You can have some schools that go above and beyond, and you can have others who do the bare minimum. How do you think that impacts children and the opportunities they're going to have in the years to come and their futures?
Can I answer that one? Can I go first?
Please go ahead.
Right. I feel that you should have climate change embedded throughout the curriculum as if it's a golden thread in everything. So, for example, one of the many questions that the press keep asking me is, you want to change the curriculum? No, I don't. I want to leave the curriculum as it is globally. I just want to add climate change into the curriculum. So, for example, a GCSE maths lesson on percentages and ratios. It's the same old lesson, but you can teach about diminishing land mass in Bangladesh. Still percentages and ratios, but you start getting children to think, really to think about the causes of climate change and to ask questions. I've watched this in Ash's school, I've seen this in Meryl's school and Ben's teaching, and all of these climate change teachers. That's why we are building Educate Global Social, and why we want to embed it into every country around the world, the equivalent of their own Department for Education website to support it. So, you know, I agree with you. I feel that this should be mandatory. It should be something. You've changed the Constitution. That is incredible. So I'm going to ask you how you did that and why.
Thank you very much. We believe that the environmental education, climate change education is not optional. It needs to be mandatory. The history in Mexico is that there has been lots of progress in the last 30 years. However, when a new president or a new governor comes, or a new director of a school comes and they don't like that subject and they take it out and the program is killed. And this is extremely frustrating for people that have been working decades in implementing environmental education, that suddenly because someone comes and takes it out, all the effort is dead. Therefore, about 8 years ago, we started working with the Congress to change the Constitution. And in Mexico, the third article of the Constitution talks about it talks about education. The last reform was in 1917 in our revolution. Education became free and obligated for all children and youth. However, we strongly believed that education also needed to be about climate change and environment. Therefore, about the most recent goal was in November, we integrated a very important group of around 60 NGOs, and we suggested this big change in the Constitution. People said, you guys are crazy, changing the Constitution in Mexico is very difficult. You need 2/3 of the votes in the Congress, and you need also 2/3 of the Congress of each of the states, and there's 30 states. So you really need momentum with support of the most important governing parties in Mexico. But we did this important event. We signed the Chapultepec commitments. It's a beautiful park in Mexico. And in the second commitment, we suggested Congress to do this revolutionary change. And thanks to support of some important senators of different parties, and as you probably know, Mexico changed president and Congress, so we had a great opportunity. We put that suggestion with Change.org also. We got like in 3 weeks around 10,000 signings, and we had some support from the society in general. And when one senator of the Green Party of Mexico saw it and said, this is a great opportunity, let's do it.
So you did it?
We did it.
Mexico has it in your constitution?
Yes, in May, we did this historic achievement, and now in Mexico it's mandatory. However, we need to work a lot, because after you make that revolutionary change in your constitution, you need to have the secondary laws also. So what we did, we received a call here from RTCC, responding to climate change that works with the GEF, and they invited us to give the story here in the UN. And we started working on an initiative that now we call Worldwide Environmental Education. And the suggestion is for all countries of the world to do what Mexico just did, which is change their constitution, incorporate environmental education as mandatory. And with that momentum, we went to the Minister of Education in Mexico and Semarnat in Mexico and say, hey, we're going to come here to the COP. We need the secondary laws done by September or October to bring a good product to the UN. And thank God, with the help of this very important Ministry of Education, Semarnat, and very strategic NGOs, we had important meetings, and we made that very important change of implementing the correct secondary laws. And now we come here to the UN and we learn about your extraordinary initiative, because our initiative also is not only top-down, changing the constitutions, but also bottom-up, going school by school, teacher by teacher. And therefore, we would love to have an alliance with you guys and implement your initiative with our teachers.
We want to be in every classroom. We want a climate change teacher in every classroom, in every school, everywhere, not just Mexico, all over. But with your team, we can do that. Asha, you've had the minister. You've had Dr. Isa Bastaki from the World Green Energy Organization join you, and you've had other dignitaries come to you, but you are different. You're an autocracy. How does it work in Dubai, in the UAE?
I don't think one should be disheartened about leaders having to make this mandatory. I think the power lies in the hands of the people and the teachers and the educators. If we are passionate about it and we don't find excuses, you can have an army of Greta Thunbergs. She just stepped out and took a stand, and now hundreds and thousands and millions are following her all over the world. While it is necessary for constitutions to be changed and it to be made mandatory, I think what is important is we don't waste the time in between waiting for a law to come into place, but work with our students, because curriculum is everything that happens to a child, and it should continue to evolve. If what is happening around you is concerns of climate change, I think that should become a part of the curriculum. Children should be designing the cities. Children should be looking at ways in which they will travel in those cities. They should be talking about how nature and buildings should interact. It shouldn't be left only to adults to design a city in which they are going to live in the future. So I think it's necessary for both the governments to work out a mandate and for us to continue working. And I'm hoping by COP26, this will become mandatory and that we will be signing some kind of agreement at Glasgow.
I am aware that we're coming to the end of our session now, so I'd like to thank our panelists. Can I open up any questions to the audience, either for our panelists or about Educate Global in general? Yes, thank you, on the left there.
Hi, so my name is Malia Elder. I'm a student at the American University of Paris. I'm on my school's sustainability board, and right now I'm the project manager for a new educational campaign. So my question is, do you have any specific advice or strategies that I could possibly bring back to my school?
Absolutely, yes. We are already working with 11 UK universities, teaching universities. And what we do is we find, as soon as we get these leaders that come out from these climate change teachers, the leaders like Ben King, the leaders like Meryl, the leaders like Asha, they become our regional and our country leaders. And they push this through because they are tenacious. Meryl contacted the North of Tyne Metro Mayor, and bang, they call things into action. So it's getting the universities together. It's getting a structure for each country, for each region. And then what we do is we come in and we say, for example, yesterday we met with some teachers from Zimbabwe, and we said, we can gladly come and build this structure for your country. It sits on your Department for Education's website, and we can support it from there. Because Tim has been working with a team of a few hundred teachers in the United Kingdom all over, translating these 5 courses that make up the teacher course into 25 languages. But we also have the Educate Global social site, and that's in what? How many languages is that in?
Over 100.
Over 100 languages. So if you please get in touch with us, please, you can reach us through educateglobal.org. Just get hold of us, support, SUPPORT, at Educate Global. So it's EDUCCATE global.org. And either Tim or myself will set up a meeting with you, and we'll gladly take you through that process.
We do have time for one more question, so at the front, and then I would ask if afterwards, if anyone has any questions, please come and find us. There is another press conference, so we will be outside, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the very inspiring presentation. My name is Wendy Evans from the United Church of Canada. And a question, certainly as around the world, around educating the children, and once they learn more about the significance of the impacts of climate change, that also often comes along with climate change anxiety. And I'm wondering how that's built into your education when you're letting the children know about this. I know right away, I see one response is they say, one of the best ways to address anxiety is to have being proactive on looking for solutions. So I could see that would be already inherently built into your educational model, but wondering if you have any specific training for your educators around for children that become overwhelmed with anxiety.
I'm going to let Asha answer that one.
I'll answer that one because I have children as young as 4 years doing the climate literacy in their classrooms. There are things that we cannot hide from our children. Many things like being safe. So if we teach children to be safe about their bodies and to take care of themselves, it's time we taught them to keep our environment safe. And we make sure that children are not subject to something that's disturbing. So while we teach children stranger danger and good touch and bad touch to look after their bodies, those are very sensitive topics handled sensitively. So also with climate change, we make sure that the videos and whatever we show, the provocations are not disturbing, but children should understand that we need to take care of the environment, just as we take care of our bodies.
if I can answer very fast also, we believe that you need to say the truth to the kids, but also immediately you need to give hope. And the only way to give hope is with action. And there you create great energy for change. And just very thank you for the invitation. And I wanted to just say something. Tomorrow at 11, we will have also a panel. You guys are invited. It's in the pavilion, the Green Climate Fund pavilion at the GEF. And our proposal, as you said, Asha, is to design a global environmental education agreement. Yes. And we want COP26 in Glasgow to be the COP of environmental education. That the only way to solve this big problem is to have this, as you said very correctly, an army of Gretas. And if countries create momentum, yes, we can make this change.
We want real action. We don't want slogans. Thank you very much. I've had enough talk. Let's do something. That's what we're doing. That's why the teachers are leading. We've had enough. We want to get on with this.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
That is the end of our conference now, because we've got other people coming in, and I'm sure you want to explore the rest of COP. But please do come and find us if we can answer any questions or if you'd like to learn any more. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Good night. Bye, guys.